Good morning. Welcome to Retro Toy Princess. I am Allison Choi, and I am very fortunate today to have a guest, Cob Web Collector. I'll put your main
Hello.
screen for a second. How are you today?
Good, good. Up
Excellent.
and wait for my kids, so they're in
Oh,
bed for now.
well,
So
that's
if
good.
they're knocking at my door later or anything, they might forget that I'm doing this, but I'll shoo them
Uh,
away.
well, we will probably have Cat Rampage at some point, so I can't quite relate, but sort of. So
Yeah.
you get it. Let's see.
Hey,
Oh,
Red.
we've got Aria to start the day with. Hello, nice to see you. And just for those wondering, yes, my ticker does say Mobius trash. He knows why. He absolutely knows why. But we'll go ahead and stop that because he's aware. Um, and then I will go ahead and let's put the page back on the front of the screen. So this Cobb picked a couple pages, and they're all pretty cool.
Yeah,
So
I like that one right there. That's what I might go with as well.
yeah, it was of the ones you picked. That was the one I thought was the coolest. Although the Skeletor one's pretty good.
Yeah, I had that one up too, but my one purple pencil, the lead, no matter how many times I sharpen it, it seems like it wants to fall out of my pencil. So
Yeah, purples often have that problem.
I was feeling like that. I was like, it's probably because it's purple for some reason. I don't know why.
A lot of purples tend to be soft, and that's sort of across the. I often have problems with purples and pinks. Just no matter how fancy of a color pencil I have. He also kind of picked. I almost went with Tila Smack and Evelyn with the
You know,
chain.
I like that. I thought
I
you would too.
wanted to, but then I thought I'm like I might save this one because this one is a short. Would probably be good because anytime there's like I posted that Wonder Woman versus the Cheetah the other day.
Yeah.
When I got not on YouTube, but I cross post on like 24 hours after I post on YouTube. I post some of the shorts on TikTok and like 5 comment. I didn't. I only let one display, but it was like, all right, now I'll have them kiss. And I went back and looked through a lot of sort of my high engagement, and there's definitely sort of there's a trend. Like if it's Katra and Shira, I've noticed. Not yeah, I'm not complaining. Like if there are people who enjoy sort of the sexual chemistry or the tension, what have you, I'll go for it. I just like coloring the pictures. So, really quick, let's do the official thing before we get started. What are you coloring with today, Cobb?
Just colored pencils. I got a
Cool, excellent.
basic 36 pack.
Oh,
And
the
go few.
Crayola. That's Crayola color pencils get sort of like what's the word? They kind of get dogged on, but they're actually really good pencils. They're
Yeah.
good
I mean,
pocket pencils.
like I said, I haven't colored or anything or done anything like this in a long time, so I didn't think I was going to go too fancy with anything. Just see where I'm at with these.
Yeah, well, I mean, also, like a nice set is a bit of an investment, so it's kind of silly when you're getting back into it to sort of get expensive materials. Start with the affordable options and then scale up as you need to. And you may never need anything more than a basic box of Crayolas, at least for adult coloring stuff. I mean, obviously, I'm a little bougie about it and like get the old coloring book scanned, print it on some fancy paper, use the fancy artiste stuff, but you know, uh,
Oh, yeah.
Crayola coloring pencils are fine.
You know
So
what you're
like,
doing, too.
I'm figuring it out. Like that's the fun thing is when people are like, "Oh, you're so good at." It's like there's some like there was I forget which short it was. There was one people were like, "Oh my god, that effect was so good." And I'm like, I thought it looked like garbage. I was just making that up as I went along and almost lost it. Good morning, Aaron. Lovely to see you. I've got about 2 or 3 of your recent videos queued up to watch after this when I do some shorts. So lovely to see Aaron. If you are not watching Aaron stuff or what have you. Go find Aaron's channel. It's pretty good. I promise, I say this every week, but I'll get my stuff together so I can put links and stuff so people can go follow everyone. Because we've got great people that come and hang out and watch my stuff. Thanos, again, perfect. Also, go check out Thanos' chapter if you're not on Instagram following him. But if you're here watching me, I would assume you have Thanos on Instagram. He's spicy, and we like that.
Mhm.
Good morning, Black Phoenix, aka Alex. Good to see you. Glad you've joined and didn't go do other things today. Yep, definitely. Printers, though, what I will tell you is I obviously print a lot, and there are some nights where like it takes an hour for my printer to realize that it was just printing a stack of paper. So, why, thank you, Aaron. And I need to figure out, because I'm going to invite you to come and join me one day. So we will figure that out. All right. So that looks like everyone in the chat. Not to rush you guys in the chat. Please feel free to continue to chime in chat. And I will check sporadically. It's my 50-cent word of the day, sporadically, which always reminds me of Clueless. Yeah, if you know, you know. I think pretty much everyone of like you're Gen X or elder millennial, right, Cob?
Elder millennial.
Okay,
I
very good.
heard the term the other day, geriatric millennial, which I thought was a funny name.
Millennial, right. Well, I just because obviously Clueless was sort of hit at right spot for both of our generations. So
yeah, I mean, I'm right there, born '82. I'm as old as He-Man. So
yeah, awesome. Yeah,
so I think '81's where the cutoff for Gen X.
I think it used to be like 84, and then some.
That's what
young millennial, some young Gen Xer was like, I want to be a millennial. It's good. It's really, the actual cutoff is really sort of, I think, subjective. I think it has more to do with your experiences. But what do I know? I'm Gen X. We were latchkey kids, and all nearly burned the house down trying to learn to cook.
Yeah, I did that too, though. So. I had older brothers and sisters, 10 years older and 16 years older. So I grew up with their kind of music and everything too. So
yeah, I
older
I was the oldest one, so I was the one always. Yeah, I was the first grandchild also, so that that added a layer of what will we call it, youthful youthful belief that I was invincible. So I probably did a lot more stupid stuff than I probably should have.
And that elder millennial is kind of they usually go in about 15-year spans for the generations, and then me and Carol were looking it up because I was explaining to her elder millennial and stuff, and the elder millennials just kind of a little 5 years between them. The rest of them are usually like 15 years till each one.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Like I could Google, but whatever. It's more fun to
right.
to not Google everything. Who even knows anymore what if you Google and you get the right stuff? I just never heard it. It was just like I thought it was a really weird, I don't know. The elder millennial. It's the it's like, yes, we're old, but we're not that old because we're not Gen X or, God forbid, a baby boomer. And it's just, I don't know. It's kind of.
And the first time I heard it was, I forget her name, a female stand-up comedian on Netflix, and she had her whole set was called Elder Millennial. And I thought it was just something that she made up just to name her comedy set that. But then I started hearing it more.
The first time I heard it was in my writers group, and if any of you guys are watching, hey, I doubt it because it's Sunday and it's too early for them. But this old guy in our group um, was referring to himself as an elder millennial, and he was born like in '81, I think. And I was just like, you're a Gen X. No, no, I swear. And I'm like, nope. With the experiences you had, and he got really offensive. Well, not offensive, offended that like I was trying to call him Gen X, and I'm just like, sir, you don't have the disposition of a millennial.
See, I'd be opposite. I'd rather be called a Gen X than an elder
Yeah,
millennial.
right. That was my thing. Like, I don't know. Like, it was just weird. Like, I guess it's the modern day equivalent of those ladies who are like always 29. It's like, ma'am, you
Yeah.
were 29 when I was 29. There's no way. I used to have a coworker, and she was like, I'm 29, and she was not. And of course, I had for various reasons, I had, like I had access to the actual age, HR stuff, basically. Like when you do people's paperwork and payroll stuff, you have all of that.
Yeah.
And what was funny was she's no longer at the company, but I have a friend who's on some of the dating apps, and he found her on the dating app, and he sent. Now, mind you, when it's been like 10 years since, like she was like, I'm 29. And he sent this thing from the dating app where he came across her like about a year ago. And I'm 35. And I'm like, there's no way that you have time traveled. It just cracked me up because it's like she doesn't. And I don't mean this in a mean way. It's not that she's aging poorly. She's aged. Like we all age. Like, you can look good for your age or you can look bad for your age. But if you're trying to claim, and this is probably rude of me, but I was like, if she's trying to claim she's like 35, like she looks really bad for her age. She looks really good for her actual age. But
Rolando.
I don't know. It's just weird. This whole. I mean, we have a youth-based culture, obviously, but it was just funny to me that she's on dating apps. I mean, in the pictures, it wasn't even like one of those things where she was using old pictures. Like these were recent pictures, and I'm just like okay, whatever. It reminded me of why I'm glad I don't work with her, basically, because sort of willful dishonesty was a running theme, basically. And if she's watching, she can eat a bag of shit. So. She could be, for all I know, she could be like one of my. Like, she could be that person that's always commenting on TikTok about how excited they are for my stuff. You never know. So.
Oh, do you actually do the TikTok too?
Yeah, I put my stuff on TikTok. Like, I don't put a lot of effort into it, and it shows in my viewers and stuff. I put everything on. All of my shorts go on YouTube. Sometime between midnight and 10 a.m., depending on how on top of it I am. Sometimes if I've released another video, I won't drop it right at midnight because the algorithm will just kill it.
Yeah, I was on routine then for a little bit. I was, as soon as you were dropping on Instagram, I'd be awake at that time. I'm kind of not there anymore, but yeah, you see it right when you throw it on Instagram.
Well, and it's funny because, you would see it, you would go watch it, and there would be some times where you were my only viewer on a short for like 6-7 hours. And then it would
on the schedule.
But and it's funny because they tell you get a schedule, keep a schedule. But I've learned with the algorithm, at least for shorts, I don't know about my longer form content isn't. I'm not as worried when like one of my videos doesn't because I make right now I'm sort of making evergreen content. So for me, it's fine if I release a video and it doesn't hit a certain amount of views like day one because over time that racks up. So, but so like 24 hours after I post it on YouTube, I'll post it on TikTok. Just to sort of have a presence over there to start building. But I'm also, sort of at the tail end of this period of doing a short a day every day. I mean, technically I say that, but I still have enough shorts that I can post daily through March. Just the regular shorts like I'm doing, but I'm working on some different shorts. During the Carrie Fisher thing, I did a couple sort of different shorts that had like her voiceover, and they were a little bit longer and they were a little bit more involved. So I'm going to be moving into more like that. And then once I start making those, I'll probably only do shorts 2 or 3 times a week. It's fun, but it's also a really hard schedule to do a short every day.
Yeah, I know you and Brick are the ones I know that try and watch it all the time. You and Brick, man, you guys pump them out one a day every day.
Yeah. And well, it started because I was like, I need to start posting on YouTube, and I hadn't posted anything other than my opening. And I was making all these. I originally did a couple shorts and I stuck them on Instagram. And then I was like, but wouldn't it be cool? Why don't YouTube is all about we're doing shorts now. So I was just like, let me post one. And I had a bunch of, sort of short, like I was calling them reels at the time because I was doing them with the intention of having them on Instagram reels. And it was I had done a Carrie Fisher, obviously, a portrait picture of her from Empire Strikes Back. I did that for like May the 4th last year. Yeah, last year. It was last year. We're in 2024 now. And I was like, well, why don't I just start posting shorts? I've got a couple of these Princess of Power and a few, the Mark Taylor stuff I've been working on. And I've got this Princess Leia, Carrie Fisher thing. So I posted the Carrie Fisher thing on YouTube as a short. And it got like, I think it's up to like 400 views now. Like, YouTube shorts are weird.
Yeah, I tell my son all the time. My son's shorts, he does pretty good views on them, I'd say. He gets in the thousands usually, 1,000, 2,000.
Yeah, I've seen his stuff. He does pretty well.
I was like, be happy with that because I'm happy when mine hit 100. So
yeah, right. That's my barometer. If something hits 100, like I'm happy with it. Yeah. I mean, I've had stuff. Like I did a Smurf short that hit like 3,000 views, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. I usually about once a week get something that'll go 1,000 or higher.
Yeah, I had one recently that just hit 1,000 something, and I was like, oh wow, but it just wasn't right away. It just comes out of nowhere later, kind of.
Well, yeah.
When it's gonna hit.
I did a faker, and that was sort of the thing. I did a faker short that like 98 views, and I'm like, okay, that's honestly, for Masters of the Universe, that's pretty good for a short. Motu does not. My Motu longer content does better than my shorts do, but Motu's part of why I like doing this, So I'm gonna keep doing Motu whether the shorts algorithm likes it or not. But I did Faker, and it was, like 98 views. I'm like, that's pretty good. And then 2 weeks later, I'm looking to my metrics, and Faker is like at 300 views. I'm like, well, that's interesting. And then an hour later, I went back to check because I just released a longer video, and Faker was up to 900 views. And I think Faker topped out at like almost 3,000 views. And I'm just like, that's really random. But I use a Daft Punk song, so.
Yeah, I know. I think it depends on songs too a lot, huh? I don't really know. My whole YouTube and everything, I don't have a schedule when I put stuff out. I just do a short here and there. Just random stupid stuff sometimes. I don't really put a lot of thought and everything. I'm just kind of fun with it. Haven't been worried about all my hours and views and all that stuff as much. And I'm just surprised that people even watch my stuff, and I've came so far to be where I'm at.
Yeah, that's, I think, for me, it's just like that anyone is interested in the weird stuff I'm into is kind of cool. I'm going to check in with the chat really quick. Hello, Attorney Lips. You, I believe, are going live later, so you guys check his channel out. He does really good stuff.
But, yeah.
Let's see, Aaron. Yep, Gen X for life. Exactly. Yes, we sort of are the abandoned generation. That's all right. We have found each other. Ria, yeah, you are just a millennial. You've got another. You won't ever be an elder millennial, even when you're an elder. So not like from He-Man, but like elderly person. Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Everyone in Gen X did a lot of stupid stuff. Hello. Good morning, Largo. I need to reply to Largo. And I saw your message this morning when I was getting ready, but I did not. But it's been seen. It will be dealt with shortly. Ish. After this, of course. Good morning, Rolando. Sorry, my southern accent almost slipped out there. So, good morning. Lovely to see you. Good morning, Carol. Lovely to see you as well. Let's see if I've gotten everyone. Oh, there's Carol again. Brian. Good morning. Lovely to see you. Yeah, it's really weird just how it works. Like Gen Z, good Lord, Brian. Oh well, but at least so you are the person, the one person that's under like 35 in my views. All right, there we go. Now I know who that person is. There's like, I look at my numbers and it's like like my views, it's like 20, 20, 25, like 35 to 45. And then there's like Ed, who's like, I guess my one over 50 person right now.
Yeah, that's my whole thing is about 50-50 from 35 to 45 and 45 to 55. That's my.
I got a 13, I got somebody like in that like 10 to 13 range, and I was like, what video is that? So I can delete it. I don't want kids watching my stuff. So go play Roblox or whatever the hell you call that shit. Like, this is not the place for you.
Hey, I laughed when I first started and was kind of scrolling through that. They didn't have but maybe a couple videos out, and then 99% male and 1% female.
Yeah, mine is.
I joked with Kayla and showed her. I was like, "Look, you're that 1%," because I know she was watching my videos. And now I think it's up to like 3%. It's probably you, maybe Kayla and Carol.
I don't know. It may not be me because I can't remember because like my channel technically is attached to an account I set up in like 2017, and I may not have even selected any of that stuff. So it may not at all. I could be like the other, which is fine. I've been the other quite a few times in life. So it's typical. It's funny though. My viewership started out 60-40 male female, with 60% being female, and now it's about 50-50, which has been really it's started shifting when I because I've been doing longer content with Star Wars stuff, and there was a shift when I started doing more Star Wars stuff, which is just interesting because
yeah, that is.
But we'll see, because I'm going to be doing this month. I'm doing a bunch of Motu stuff, which will basically kill my views of Lawrence of Red Punk with Toys, of his experiences to be. I say that though, but I have that Lady Slither video I did and the Tongue Washer video I did. They still get decent views, so I think Motu is more long form content, and evergreen stuff is better. So,
but I finished up Skin Tone pretty much. I think I don't know how well you
see that. Yeah, I'm gonna put you front and center so everyone can see where you're at.
Switch to another camera later too, and then you can see. So
there you go. Very nice.
Tone first. What's coming off? Just trying to do a little shading in there. I might have to go a little darker so it pops a little more, but just test out my shading skills.
If you have like a really sort of darkish orange in that set, if you lightly go in with a dark orange, it'll give you some nice shading that's in line with like He-Man's tan. So
Okay, yeah, I was using a little brown. I was kind of giving him more of a dark wash.
yeah, you could go a lot darker. I tend to stick to the like darker oranges with him because I color pretty heavy, and if I go too brown, it looks like I'm trying to put him in blackface. And if I'm gonna get canceled on the internet, it's not gonna be for that.
Right.
It's gonna be because Moby finally sees all of the justified trash talking of him I do. Like, if Moby comes for me and I get canceled, that's acceptable because I've earned that. I'm not going to accidentally put He-Man in blackface and get canceled. So that would be horrible. Then I would have to get the ukulele and do an apology video, and that's not going to happen. Because, yeah. I mean, if it's Moby who finally comes for me, there's no apology video. There will be a doubling down video where I'm like, you come for me, sir. You bring it. And then it'll end like the War of the Roses. So, anyway.
Check on your boots and straps.
Yeah, that's a different shade, though. So it would be fun to do Anti-Eternia He-Man, though. It's one of the things, some of the books I have the same picture 2 or 3 times, and at first I'm like, what do I do with those? I don't want to color the same thing. And then I remembered, well, there is Anti-Eternia He-Man, and I could, like battle armor stuff, I could always do like Faker. And so I was like, I'm just not being creative enough. That was a lot earlier in this process, though. It's interesting how like my thinking around what I'm doing has evolved. Because originally it was just like, I'm just going to color these things, and this is my plan for the coloring stuff. And it's kind of evolved now that I've been doing it and people have interacted with it, and I have a sense of what sort of works and what doesn't work for a short. I've been trying to burn off the last, because I was during Christmas, I was doing like 3 shorts a day.
Yeah, you were hard to keep up with during Christmas time. I know.
Yeah, well, I didn't even advertise half of that because I'm just like, I'm not gonna, but also it's Christmas. It's like, like if you don't get in on the Christmas stuff, like right away when I post it, it's like within a month it's outdated. Although to the people who keep going in and watching all of my Christmas shorts, thank you. But it tends to be, it's interesting. It tends to be like the strawberry shortcake and the Barbie. Barbie has been really good to me, which is ironic considering how much slander I used to throw at the girl. But and again, I think that's the fun thing about doing what I'm doing, is that I have come to appreciate a couple toy lines that I didn't have much appreciation for when I was younger. Like, and which sort of is a good segue into so why are you on why are you on YouTube doing toy stuff? What made you decide to do that?
For me,
yeah,
actually, Oz kind of talked me into it. My son did YouTube for a while. He did for a good year, I think, before I started messing around, or maybe even longer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just seeing that I collected so much, and I was always on top of my Motu and kind of a completionist. Had all these figures, and say, hey, maybe put some videos out there. And I had thought about it before, and I was like, oh, I'll just do it messing around. Just kind of start showing off new stuff I get little by little, and just got kind of more into it. It's a fun way to show off my toys because I don't have anybody that ain't family or ain't friends that give a crap about figures or anything. So if I want to share my toys and show somebody that appreciate it, I just put it out there on YouTube and get feedback from those people. I do the right color there.
Seems to be going well. You had a couple videos recently sort of blow up and go big.
Yeah, it's just a combination of things. But I think just getting some figures fairly early and putting them out there. I know it was just over the one weekend. I had those two videos that really shot up, and it was, I think I started on a Friday, put out the one, and it just really picked up quick. And the subscribers from it is what I was surprised about. Just so many people were subscribing at the same
Yeah.
time as watching. And then, let's see, it was Friday. I think I put it up about 5 o'clock. Then so it went about almost 24 hours or over 24 hours. We was getting a bunch of subscribers. Then we had Oz's Saturday night.
Yeah.
And right before we went there, I seen that Mega J had put up a video about that same Tila. It was really that
Yeah.
Tila, I think. And then I went to bed after we did Oz's and woke up in the morning and watched Mega J's video about Tila. And his video was all about my video.
Yeah. Well, that was yeah. Like
And shocked the hell out of me. And he really put me out there. And so a lot of subscribers were coming in that whole next 24 hours. I think just all because of him.
I think, like, I remember he dropped the link for it. I think in one of
he went all out in it. I just couldn't believe
on one of
it.
the channels, and I didn't pay attention to it. I don't, you know, like for Mega J, I don't need like I know he dropped stuff in like some of the channels that we're both in, you know, for creators. I don't ever follow those because he's just in my algorithm on all three of my accounts that I use for YouTube, and so I don't ever click because it's gonna be there when I, you know, and I'll either queue it up for later or it just sits there and I click on it and watch it. And I saw that he had the Tila video and I was like, oh, okay, well, and I had watched yours and like commented on it, so I wasn't in a rush because I'm like, I've already seen Tila, like Cob hooked me up there. So it was, I think, probably the next morning. No, it was, I don't know, like it was it was also over the holidays, so it was like time was weird during the holiday because I had all those days off of my day job. But I remember clicking on it thinking, oh, and then he was basically reacting to your video and I was like, well,
it shocked the hell out of me.
that's something. And then I'm like, well, let me go see, like, because, you know, let me go watch Cobb's video again and help him with some views. And then I got over there, I'm like, oh, he doesn't need my help at all. Like, you know, like it was thousands of views, and I was like, I looked and I'm like, well, you know, like we were all on Christmas trying to get you up to 500, and it's like you are good. So
I know I spent about 6 months, a little over 6 months to get to that 500, and I was so happy. And then next thing I know, just in 2 days, shot up to the 700, and I was like, man, I got those 2 more hundred in 2 days. When it took me about 6-7 months to get to the 500, and I was like, oh my gosh, I had just done that 500 post. It seemed like.
well, I think to me though, I think what's cool and what's good about the way that happened is you have a bunch of videos up there. So it's not like people showed up and like they had one thing to watch and they went away. It means they came over, they watched your video, and they're like, oh, this guy has all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And then they watched your other stuff and they're like, all right, let's subscribe because this guy's got good content. So
yeah, that was like at the same time too. I was glad I had that 24 hours in between when Mega J had done that because I got a whole lot of views and a whole lot of subscribers already, a good 100 something, and that way I didn't feel like it was just all because of Mega J. I mean, I did get a whole bunch more after him doing that shout out and everything, but I had that 24 hours where I was getting a lot of it on my own, so it made me feel a little good.
Well, and it's still all on your own, just because he pointed the video out for people to go find. But like, if your video had been garbage, they wouldn't have. People don't subscribe to garbage.
I know. I just still can't believe that I've even got that many subscribers, or I don't know. It's just it don't seem like I should be. Like I should have everything I have already.
I don't know. Like it. I was not surprised when I saw that. I'm like, okay, that's good. It's like, you know, a big part of Lawrence's appeal is that it's his reviews, you know, over at Punk with Toys. for there's 4 or 5 people in chat who may not know who I'm referring to with Lawrence. Um, like his review style is a big part, and it's not super polished. Like, and I obviously watch a lot of different, like I watch Toy Habits and like Michael and Toy Sorceress when they do reviews. It's very polished. It's very sort of, it looks really good. Like they're good reviews, but also I enjoy like Lawrence's, and I think what I enjoy about your reviews and when you show stuff off is it very much um, it's relatable, which is one of those silly words we say in the creator and the sphere of people who create content to put on the internet. Relatable, but it's relatable. Like people, you do a review, Lawrence does a review. People can actually picture the toy in their house in that manner. So I think that's a big part of why people subscribed. The people who came over from Mega J was that they saw somebody who was very relatable and just making solid reviews. And like I have to say the little spinny, I have one. I haven't played with it much yet, but I got a couple. I think I asked you about it. Messages like, what do you use to like spin your figures?
Yeah,
I got what Brick got.
Doing it as much.
So I picked one up. I have a Delta 17 video I need to work on. I was fortunate enough to be able to buy the Death Sparrow a little early. And Ken very graciously did an interview with me, a pre-record. So I need to get that together. But I'm gonna break the little lazy Susan out to spin the figure around. So thank you for that. Make sure in the comments to like thank you, Cob, for the recommendation of spinny thing.
Yeah, I like having a 360 look on stuff, and I really like doing my shorts like that. Those, just like my Motu or just figure shorts, where just spin around. They don't get the really good amount of views like some other random stuff. Because I put a lot more work into doing those ones where they spin around, because they got to edit and make them fade into the next pose and everything. And then I have other shorts where I'm just literally takes me 10 seconds just show a couple of my figures off, and then those will get thousands. So
yeah, well, that's like that's sort of, if you look at my shorts, like most of them are like sort of just the one angle, and like I do very little editing. I record like 5 seconds of the page before I color it, and then like 5 seconds of the page when I'm done, and then I just splice it all together, put like the sort of the wipe where it like blends into each other, and then make sure it's not over 35 seconds. Like 25 to 35 seconds I have found is like that sweet spot for like.
Well, that's my problem too with those ones. I wasn't really even going off time. It takes about 45 seconds to do 3 full rotations the way I was doing. I do speed up the rotation, but to get all the poses that I want to be, if I wanted to do 3 or 4 poses, it was taking about 45 seconds. And I noticed that attention span's not there for people to actually sit there and watch that.
I think seconds. I noticed sort of the two long, I say longer form, they were still, like 40 to 50 seconds long. But the 2 Carrie Fisher ones I did they had better retention, but there was also like I had her voiceover telling a story, so there was a little bit more to it.
Oh, yeah.
But I think just music and coloring for the shorts, like I think anything over, and like I've it's a nice thing about doing a short a day is getting to experiment to see what people will actually watch. And it is not Rainbow Bright, but
I still have to show you a picture of my niece. My niece looks exactly like Rainbow Bright. I didn't realize it as much till I watched one of your shorts. I was like,
yeah, you commented that, and I'm like, well, I'm like, maybe that's my audience for Rainbow Bright is Cobb and his family. So
I need to show you her. She is the cutest little thing. I babysit her a lot. Oh, I just love her. And then her
oh
hairstyle is exactly the same with the bangs and has her hair up
yeah.
like Rainbow Bright and everything all the time. And I never realized it until I was just watching one of your shorts. I was like, oh my gosh, she looks just like my niece.
Yeah, I've done 3 Rainbow Bright shorts, and she's one of those characters I loved in the '80s a lot. And I think the first one I did finally hit like 150 views like a few weeks ago. And I was just like there's this new toy line that they're doing. I was like maybe I'll try again because like
There is right
you know
now a toy
yeah
line.
like yeah, the same people who are doing that strawberry shortcake that are the loyal subjects, I think they're doing
Oh,
a
okay,
Rainbow
yeah, I
Bright.
know.
And there are all the little chibis that are at, I think that's what you call them, chibis. And
I
some anime shit. But they're at like Five Below. They have the little. Kayla has a bunch of them. I went to order them and they were sold out, so I have to wait for them to restock. Those and the strawberry shortcake at Five Below went so fast. It's like you guys. But anyway, yeah, it's weird, like But I suspect I'm gonna start once I chill out with the short a day every day on YouTube. I'm gonna start putting some time and energy into my reels over on Instagram, and I suspect it'll do better because looking at demographics, there are more female viewers over on Instagram than sort of shorts on YouTube. So I'm based on sort of what I've noticed between the two. I think my Rainbow Bright content will probably do really well on Instagram. So fingers crossed. I'll be playing with that though. You know. Again, that's sort of the fun thing about this for me is like trying the different platforms, seeing what works. X is dead, so why bother even? Um, but yeah, so I'm gonna check in with chat really quick.
Yeah, seen pain.
Yeah. Good
Up
morning,
early.
Ping. Also, again, congrats on the lovely speech. That was really touching and enjoyable. Tony has slid in. Good morning,
Oh
Tony's
yeah,
Fix. Lovely to see you, my friend. I need to. Oh, shoot. Have a great day, Largo. Thanks for popping in, and I will be watching that interview. Probably on the replay because Sunday is very big. Yes, it was. It was very, very amazing. Like I loved it. It made me cry. Yep. Good morning. So catching up. Oh, that I would be. Yeah, like wherever that is, please mention it in the chat so I can go find that. If you've put it on socials, if you haven't, that's fine. But I sort of used to have a lot of attitude about sort of the deformed. I think that's what they call it, like the deformed chivy stuff. And then the Powerpuff Girls happen, and I'm like, okay, maybe I kind of like this style a bit. I've become a fan. I think it's also as you get older, cutesy stuff like that is cutesy and you can appreciate it, but me in my 20s, not so much. I'm like, oh my god, why? It's too cute.
I mean, it's just funny. Me is just like the older I get too. Like me being younger, little boy, I didn't ever care about My Little Pony
Right.
or Rainbow Bright or anything. But now, being my age, that's so nostalgic for me that it's something
Mm,
that I like seeing, like watching your shorts and stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, there's strawberry shortcake and there's
yeah.
Rainbow Bright. Like as a little boy, I didn't care to watch anything or play with it, but now that I'm older,
Yeah.
I appreciate that that's from my childhood.
Yeah, it's a little bit like me and Barbie. Like I never got that vibe. I wasn't about And it's funny because as you know, like now that I'm doing as much Barbie content as which again is very ironic.
Yeah.
Um, but at the same time, I've come to appreciate sort of, yeah, because Barbie is sort of a little bit like originally they wanted Motu to be like Barbie, where it was just like every year there would be, and they kind of did that to a degree. It became way more character centric. But originally, He Man was just like every year there would be new costumes for He Man, and sort of like what they do with Barbie. It's like every year there's like a new Barbie, and then a bunch of costumes. Yeah, I mean outfits, dresses, whatnot,
Mhm.
accessories, and stuff. And Motu kind of had that, but Motu was really character driven. You had all the new villains, all the new heroes every year. And that's sort of, I think, the Star Wars collect them all thing. But
That's how
anyway,
they
like,
started with He-Man, though. They had Barbie, and they're like, well, let's kind of just do a boys version where you swap out the armor and stuff and
and
accessories.
do, yeah. And then it just sort of evolved out of that where it was,
Yeah.
but like sort of the Barbie movie was coming out, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna go see that.
Hmm.
I went expecting to hate watch that movie, and at that point, I only had a Barbie and the Rockers coloring book because I was gonna do a compare and contrast series of videos with Jim and the holograms because I really like Jim.
Yeah.
That was one of my jams as a kid.
Well, yeah, that was on Saturday rotations. Yeah, I remember it coming
Uh,
on, and I don't remember
and
fully, but I know it'd be on, and I let it play. So
when I didn't even have any of the dolls for because they were a little bit spendy. She-Ra was perfect. It was like an action doll. It was like $5. I didn't have a lot of strawberry shortcake because they were like $7, $8, which was a lot. But I had all the strawberry lamb miniatures. Um, but so I had this Barbie and the Rockers coloring book, and I had a couple pages I set aside. I'm like, I'll just color them and slide them into my shorts. And the first one I slid into my shorts the same weekend the Barbie movie hit. So obviously that helped a lot. And then I just I was sort of fun. And then I started doing all the research so that, I try to color stuff, accurate to the toys or a TV show or whatever. Um, yeah, because for the most part, the people that are going to watch my shorts are looking for nostalgia, so it needs needs to look like something they have a connection to, and not
yeah,
just
you give that little history of why you're coloring a certain thing, a certain color too,
yeah.
and that
So
was cool to go back to that. So, like, for anybody that doesn't know, you're putting it out there for them.
yeah, like you gotta get the toy history in there as well. It can't just be everything else. But really quick, I'm going to put you on the screen so we can see
Right.
where you're at.
Kind of just
Looking good.
down to the boots, some of the orange.
Nice.
Color takes longer than I thought. I mean, for me, I'm probably a little slower. You seem like you've gotten a little, yeah, you're a little farther
Yeah,
ahead.
at this point, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
but I knocked out like 4 shorts yesterday.
I'm,
So
I'm putting off all the grays and armor and everything. I'm more nervous to do them. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
yeah,
what's fun about doing streams
where
like
am I
this
so
is when I
far?
do shorts, I do all the background first because that's
Yeah,
what people
I
want.
noticed that.
'Cause once I do the person, people stop watching. The hair and the skin, once those are done, people will stop watching a short. So like, and in the beginning that was fine because I was doing just stuff more like this where it was just like an image and people without a lot of backgrounds, and then I sort of was like, this is kind of boring. I need to have more fun with this. But yeah, people will stop watching if I do all the people and then the background. So now I flipped it around so that people will watch. And also I've noticed a lot of the people who watch my stuff for relaxation, I've noticed that I get more comments about how relaxing it is if I do background to foreground. Like there's some sort of weird thing in our brains that like the completion of it
Mm-hmm.
makes it more satisfying, more relaxing. So, you know, somebody was like, I was watching one of your playlists and I fell asleep. You put me to sleep. And I'm like, that's a compliment, I think. So,
Yeah, I've heard that with a few people that talk about, oh, people commented that I put them to sleep. And I'm like, well, kind of a good thing in certain situations.
I think, well, it depends on the music, but I know with both you and Brick, when I'm watching the figure spins, depending on the music, like sometimes it sort of pumps me up. Like I'm like, yeah, like if it were 3 a.m., I would get up and do some cardio right now.
Yeah, Brick's really good with that, picking the music. I don't know, watching his music
Oh yeah,
always,
I often
it
write
just
down.
seems perfect.
He'll pick a good song and I'll write down. I'll put it on a list. Like I need to figure out if I can find a way to use this on a short.
Yeah, I totally blank out. I'll do the whole short, like especially with like the figure spin around, and then I'll sit there forever going through songs and test stuff out.
It's
I'll have to just stop and come back later, and
yeah.
finally sometimes just go with anything. Like I
It
don't
can
know.
be hard too because if you pick the wrong song, people will not always engage. I've noticed with Star Wars stuff, if I don't do Star Wars music, people don't like it. Like the swipe away is faster. If I do Motu and I do Motu music, it has a lower. Whereas if I do Motu and throw in some sort of 80s music, it does better. So I don't. It's sort of it's weird, like the differences in those two fan bases. So I just like putting a cool song with a cool picture that's sometimes ironic.
Yeah, see, I didn't for a long time either. Too. I never even looked at the numbers on how long people are paying attention or anything.
Yeah.
Like I just kind of recently started looking at it. I was like, oh wow, these shorter ones are showing like over 100% because
Yeah.
rewatching it, and I'm like, oh okay, so that's how it works. I guess
Yeah.
I feel like I don't put a lot of effort into my YouTube. I hate saying that. I just make
Well,
videos, put it out, and don't have a
I think
time or schedule or anything. Just kind of do whatever.
there's something to be said for that though. Like, there are times where I wish I put less effort into, when I look up
Me,
and I'm like,
yeah, I have done that. Yeah,
where I'm like, holy hell, I need to do this thing. And I've been sitting here for an hour looking at numbers and trying to figure out why people hate me. And it's probably because I talk too much, but whatever.
and I realized because every time I do a YouTube video too, even though it's just me talking to the camera, nobody's there. Feel like I'm just a nervous wreck. Like, gosh, I hate the way I sound. I hate the way this is looking. I hate everything about it. And I know everybody. I mean, most people feel the same way about themselves,
Yeah.
but it's just so hard for me. I edit the hell out of my pause breaks when I'm talking, and then
Mm-hmm.
end up having to leave stuff in because I'm just like, oh, I can't even edit that out if I want to because I screwed up so bad. But I'm like, I'll just leave it how it is.
Yeah, I will. I have Audacity, and I'll go in. I write scripts for certain things. Obviously, need a script. I'll write a script, and then I just read it. I record it 3 or 4 times, and it sucks, so I completely delete it. And then I'll go through and do one. And if I mess up, I just stop, and then start again, or I'll rewrite in the moment and then restart. And then I'll have like this 30-minute sound file for like an 8-minute video. But then I just go in and cut out all the bad. So like any video where I'm talking, rest assured that there are entire sentences in there that are like 7 different takes that I've just spliced together during the editing
Oh
process.
yeah,
So that I
I do
could
that
get
too.
something. So that I could get
Oh,
something where I sound like I know what I'm talking about. And
well,
yeah,
doing just like the figures and reviews and stuff, there are so many times where I'm talking, I have a figure in hand, and my mind will just go blank.
yeah,
And so I'm just trying to keep my hand as still as I can because I know I'll start talking at some point,
yeah.
and you can just blur that same frame with another one when I start talking again.
It's a lot easier to do a cut that way.
Yeah, if I could keep my hand as still as I am, I'll be with both hands sometimes. I have a weapon in this hand, figure in this hand, and just totally blank out on where I was going with it. And just hold still, and just start talking again later and edit it all together later.
So do you just record on your phone, or do you have
Yeah,
like
all I use is my phone. I
nothing
had
wrong with that?
I had an older phone when I started doing YouTube. I had a older phone. I mean, the picture and everything was pretty clear, but it was an LG, and LG's been out of business for I don't know how long.
Right.
So that's what I started with, was just the LG phone. So I know that's what my son used, and he just done all his videos with the phone. See, I buy my kids the fancy stuff. I got my son an iPhone that he
Yeah.
wanted and everything, and then my phones, I've always, the older the better for me, cheaper, as long as I can call somebody. I never really
Yeah.
used it for pictures or doing videos and stuff. I kind of did that with this new phone I got too. It's not the greatest phone either, but pictures seem a little more clear. I do notice a difference in some of the videos. Except the autofocus on this one. I need to look into it because my shorts before, I didn't have the problem where it wants to autofocus as much with my old phone.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting kind of blurry here and there, driving me nuts. I'm not tech savvy with anything. Like, I'm surprised I can even upload a YouTube video.
Check in with comments real quick. No, it's fine, Payne, because I'm not ignoring people either. I'm just talking to Cobb. I like picking them. The problem is finding the combination. Like, because there are times where it's like there's a song I want to pick, but it doesn't quite work. And I have found that either works really good, where people are like, "Oh yeah, that works," and it goes well, or people don't watch it. I did a GI Joe cover girl video, and I picked RuPaul Supermodel because it literally says cover girl in it, and I thought it would be funny. I've only gotten mean comments on videos one time, and it was people being mad that I picked that song for cover girl. I guess the bros couldn't cope.
Really?
Black Phoenix, aka Alex. I make up scripts for videos I haven't filmed yet in my head. I actually do that too. I start drafting in my head. Usually in the shower, it's the best place, or while I'm waiting for things to pass in the bathroom. Oh, well, thank you, Chris Maycock. That's very good. Yeah. I recently upgraded my phone. I got the same model. I just got more memory because I kept running out of memory to record longer videos.
Yes.
And as much as I like doing shorts, I do like doing the longer videos where I then speed them up. And, because for shorts, I just film them in time lapse. But I like, like some of the stuff I have coming up, like tomorrow, the one on Monday, the Tila card back that I'm doing, that I filmed that was like 3 hours of video that I then sped up because then I have more control over it. But I filmed that one, and my old phone was like, "You do not have enough memory," and it kept trying to get the files.
I was having that problem so bad with my old phone because I think that other phone was just 16 gigabytes of memory.
Yeah,
and I guess that's pretty low, right?
I think so. Yeah, my current the new one I have is like, I don't know, it's a lot. It's got plenty of memory. I also go through it now and go to my cloud and download all of the videos into my drive so that I don't have just tons and tons of stuff sitting on my phone anymore. Because that was the other thing. I had like 10 years, because I've had at this point iPhones for like 10 years. So every photo I've ever taken on an iPhone automatically transfers to every phone. So I went and cleaned a bunch of stuff out. I was like, I don't need this video of me and Carl at the zoo from 2015. That's evidence that I actually knew Carl. So, no Carl. But yeah, so I've thought about, like that's sort of on my list of like if I ever get sort of enough followers or whatever, aka monetization. If I ever get to a place where I'm actually making a little money, that's going to be my first thing, is like a bigger, fancier computer that I can edit on, and a nicer camera setup. So put the money back into it.
Editing all on my phone too, because that's just what my son taught me how to do. I don't know.
I do for
Anything else?
shorts. It's all on my phone. Like everything, iMovie on my phone, like is perfect for shorts. For anything longer, I actually have software on my computer that I use. Because the iMovie has some limitations that annoy me, and it's just probably because I'm old.
Is that what you use, that iMovie? I,
Yeah,
I know a friend that uses that too.
yeah, that's what I do all the shorts on. All the shorts are on iMovie.
Okay.
Um,
What I did with my son was CapCut. I know I've seen a few people use that as well, and that's just first thing I used because he
oh,
knew how to use it and showed me, and so I've been
it's called CapCut.
yeah, CapCut.
Okay, I'll look into that because I would like something nicer on the phone for for stuff.
I mean, it's got a lot of features and everything on there. I
Yeah,
love how I can sit there for days and just play with the little when you go from one screen to the next. There's different things where you slide to the left, slide up and down, make it look like your page is flipping.
yeah,
Just so many different things you can mess with on there.
yeah.
So I'm always
I
trying to
would,
put something new in every time.
yeah. See, because I would use iMovie more, but there's some limitations to it that annoy me. So if I could, yeah. So the more I can do on my phone, the happier I am because sort of the process of importing, exporting from into a computer kind of. I mean, some stuff I just need sort of that bigger setup to like get in there and move scenes around and stuff. Because I use Lightworks, which is an editing software. It's like because I had never edited a video in my life, and then it was 2016. Yeah, 2016. I was like, I've got things I want to say, and it was mostly just making fan videos for Liz Phair songs. But I also was going to a New Year's Eve party where it was like, we're going to be doing audio visual performance stuff. And I'm like, I want to make a video. So I did some research and they're like, Quentin Tarantino used this to make Pulp Fiction in the 90s. This is the modern version. So I downloaded it and I didn't sleep for 72 hours. And I had 3 videos when I got to that New Year's Eve party. So it worked. Um, Obviously, my first video was a Carrie Fisher memorial video. That was like the first thing I learned to make. I'm like that, then a Liz Phair fan video, and then I made a Twin Peaks weird thing. So, you know, the older I get, the more I stay the same, I think. Twin Peaks, Carrie Fisher, Liz Phair, and then some Masters of the Universe. Like Masters of the Universe, like I tried to make a Tila video. It was not good. But also, wasn't filming footage on my phone at that time. It was just whatever I could find on the internet and basically steal people's, like I would steal other people's videos and edit it and slice it up, which I don't recommend doing, children. That's illegal and it's rude. And YouTube won't let you upload it because copyright. But it was for me a really good way to learn how to edit because I didn't have to worry about camera angles or anything like that. That was all taken care of. I never did finish my Phantom Menace fan edit. I was going to edit out all of the poop jokes and all of the fart jokes. And then I was going to use like that AI thing, where you can do voices. And I was going to go in and get a bunch of British voices to redub all of Jar Jar Binks and the Gungan so that they sounded British, to see if that made a difference. Because my theory has long been Jar Jar would be cooler if he didn't have that silly voice that they did. So maybe one day I'll get back to that.
Back real quick, give me like 30 seconds.
Oh,
I hear movement. I'm just going to tell them to go get breakfast. Go get breakfast and don't bother me. So
not a problem. Go do what you need to do. I will check. It's a great time to check the comments again. Good morning, Brick. Lovely to see you. Hello, Ed. Good morning. Good morning. Excellent. So if Alex is still working with it, I will be able to work with it too. Ooh, excellent. I don't know if I did or not. If it's on Instagram, it's possible it did not show me. So I've also not been online as much as I probably should be. So, but I will look for it. Hello, Adam. Kiwi, possibly. I think the problem, the thing that for me is that anything sort of vaguely ethnic, because of the way the Gungans are written, has the weird side effect of coming across as vaguely racist. And I know people are always like, well, Ahmed Best came up with the voice, whatever. He's black, obviously, but I think it's worth noting he came up with the voice. George Lucas liked that voice and went with the voice, and there are other questionable voices in The Phantom Menace that are sort of stereotypical. So I think the overallness of it has a intent. So anything that's sort of ethnic, I think becomes problematic, whereas British is technically, I guess, and it's like a regional dialect, but also usually English accents denote evil. So if you were to use an English accent for the Gungans, it therefore subverts our expectations because they end up being a very heroic race of creatures. So anyway, that was my thinking, but maybe you're right. I'm willing to accept that I don't know everything. Oh, gotcha. Okay. No, I missed that. Exactly. But then again, he lies so much, right? Always lying. I don't know. I don't. I certainly at this age don't dislike the Gungans as much as I did. But I also feel like it was the argument that is often made is Star Wars is George Lucas was making Star Wars for kids, which is accurate. But for the original trilogy, he didn't dumb it down too much until well, actually, even the Ewoks, even though they were cute and cuddly, weren't particularly dumbed down for us. Whereas it felt like in the Phantom Menace, he was dumbing it down. And I think the Gungans work better if you sort of bring them up a level or two. So, again, I could be wrong. I'm certainly of the opinion, yes, these are movies made for children, and we're all big kids at heart. So we, should definitely enjoy them. But there's again also I think something to be said for not treating children audiences with lowest common denominator human. Yes, kids like fart jokes, but that doesn't mean you have to give them a bunch of fart jokes. So anyway, that's my it seems like yeah, he does. I liked the Jar Jar redemption arc we got. Yeah, Jar Jar was pretty goofy, so
You want to know
gotcha.
a Star Wars
Okay, so
sequel?
like New Zealand accent. Okay, gotcha. All right. Yeah, that would be accept. It sounds like Adam. We need to have a live stream at some point where we talk about Gungans. That's what the internet wants: is old people talking about an old movie that only matters to old people. So anyway, I will be in touch, Adam. We'll make that happen. Maybe I'll find some Gungan pages we can color, and when I finally invite you on here, we'll do that instead of Ewoks. So, all right, Cobb is back.
Yeah.
So, and Thanos will watch it. So there we go, Adam. That's the only demographic that really matters. If we can get Thanos to watch us, we're doing well. Like Thanos and Nolan, like that's, in my opinion, if you can get Thanos in the chat or Nolan or both, that's all you need for a good live stream. So everything, the kids are gonna be okay with you being preoccupied for a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. My kids are older too. They're just over here for the weekend.
I remember being a teenager, and the times that I needed my parents the most was when they had things that they were doing.
Exactly.
So suddenly I remembered I needed my parents for more than just, can I have some money so I can go to the mall? Well, we were pretty far from the mall, so it was more like, can I have some money so I can walk over to the store and get like some Cool Ranch Doritos and a Diet Dr. Pepper? I didn't have lunch at school today because it was totally grody.
Yeah, I go through so many chips. Chips are a
Yeah.
necessity with teenagers.
There was, I think it was my sophomore year, maybe. Was well, one Cool Ranch Doritos came out while I was in high school because I
Oh
am
yeah.
that old.
Ooh.
And it was a big deal. But they also did some sort of like spicy salsa flavor that I liked better. And I remember like skipping lunch every day and taking my lunch money to go buy a bag of chips and a Diet Dr. Pepper. And like, yeah, this is like so much better for me than that crappy food at school.
Oh yeah, I used to always go get beef jerky and a yoo-hoo
Yeah.
with my lunch money.
When I worked at the call center, it was right up the street from a like gas station convenience store, and every morning on my first break I would walk up there and get that horrible gas station coffee that tastes like it's got lighter fluid and gasoline and death in it, and beef jerky. I would buy a Starbucks, caramel coffee in the bottle, and then I would mix that with the terrible coffee. And I get like the extra like caffeinated stuff, and then those Hostess cupcakes. And that would be like breakfast was like beef jerky, Hostess cupcakes, and horrible coffee. And I wonder why I was sad and depressed all the time at that job.
I just had to have my kids finish off the cupcakes because I had a 12 piece of confetti
Ooh,
funfetti cupcakes, and I was like, "You guys eat some of these because I'm
yeah,
going to take them out."
funfetti is good.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite. And I feed chats and I'm always known for bacon and funfetti, my two favorite things.
We all finally have we all get to like do some sort of like the frenzy or whatever group it ends up being where we all hang out. We will have to make sure that there are funfetti cupcakes and all the stuff. I got for Christmas I was gonna bake, and then I was like, no. So I just got like from the bakery at the like the grocery store. I got red velvet cupcakes because red velvet is like my favorite. They were pretty good. Like buttercream is hard, and I was eating them like if I had done this all myself for Christmas, the buttercream would not be this delicious. It would have probably broke. So, and then nothing is worse than like a buttercream that breaks. Except not having any buttercream, I guess. But yeah, so it was fun. Like it was. I haven't had cupcakes since like my birthday last year. I don't eat a lot of stuff like that anymore. So part of recovery from an eating disorder is being really regulated with how I eat. So and treats like that it's sort of like the alcoholic thing where it's like if an alcoholic has one drink, it's over. So I have to sort of
Yeah,
treat.
that's me there. February I'll be coming up on 4 years.
That's awesome though.
Yeah, that was 4 years
That's really
ago.
awesome.
But it's still not that I have thoughts of drinking at all. It took me a lot
Yeah.
of tries to want to fully quit, and this is I could tell is the time that I'm not going back.
Yeah. Well, the
But
holidays are hard for stuff like that anyway because
there's Brown.
no matter how good it is, like I don't know, for a lot, for me, seasonal depression is definitely a thing, and the holidays are always a little rough. No matter how good you have it or how good things are, it's the time of year a lot of people get, especially because like there's all this, like you're supposed to be happy at this time of year, and sometimes you're just not.
I wasn't at all this year. I was miserable.
Aw,
I
sorry.
wasn't around them. I just did the bare necessity. Got the kids' gifts, all the kids in my family, and
Yeah,
got through it. I was just not feeling it this year.
I was sort of in and out. I was, um, well, it also probably doesn't help that Carrie Fisher's death sort of coincides with Christmas now. So it's like, um,
Yeah.
it's a sad time of year anyway for me. And to have that this year was actually pretty good on that front. I did all my YouTubey stuff where I sort of overdid it, I guess. But it sort of helped to just sort of jump online and do a live stream and make content, and it helped distract me from like sort of the sadness of it and to find like to make you know I know there are some people I know from my art school days who like sort of think this is what I'm doing is really sort of silly and not real art, and I feel bad for them because
Yeah.
they're also not doing real art either. They're not even doing art so much as working shit jobs they don't like. So, ha ha. Take that, Brenda. But it helped. It helped to sort of do some live streams and like chat with people and just I don't know. I have to say this year my depression overall was a lot easier to manage when I knew like I'm gonna sit down for 4 or 5 hours and just color shit and edit videos and make stuff and throw it out into the world and hope somebody likes it. And so far people have. So
Yeah, that's one thing too. It's like I just said it's been 4 years, but before that, I'd spent so many years just very bad alcoholic where I didn't interact
yeah,
with my family or
I don't
anybody. I
know.
was real isolated, and even just getting back into trying to socialize and be part of the family again,
Yeah.
I still have that weird feeling. I'm trying
Well,
to.
and like this is not meant as a knock or a diss at your family or anything, but a lot of times when we have addictive issues or substance abuse or eating disorders or whatever, some of it often sort of comes in from family stuff. And that's not to say like your family's always called. I mean, sometimes, yeah, your parents or your siblings or whoever can sort of cause it, but often the stress in those situations can trigger it. So it's difficult to navigate that because yeah, you want to sort of have your family back around you, but also if they are part of your triggers, you have to figure out how to recreate those relationships. So it's definitely not easy. So congratulations on working on navigating that because that's hard too.
Yeah, I mean, even that's another thing with me, like the YouTube and joining the toy community and everything too is really still trying to get where I socialize with people and feel comfortable. I spent so long just by myself and isolation. Just all I did was drink and didn't have anything
Yeah,
else. When I quit drinking, wanted to find something that I liked, made me happy, new hobby, something, and it was right around the time the Motu Origins came out.
nice.
2020 is when I quit drinking. I quit drinking. 23 days later, the pandemic happened.
Oh my god.
So while everybody else is staying home talking about their drinking wine, staying home drinking wine, I'm
Oh
staying
my
home
god.
getting sober.
Right?
And then Motu Origins came out, and I started collecting those. I was like, oh, He-Man was like my first love as a child, and
Yeah.
I want some toys that remind me of that. And it
That,
all kind of started from there. Started meeting people, trying to hang out, and they said socialize more and
that
feel
seems
like
to be
I'm
doing
somewhat
well.
normal again.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's a good. Yeah, I should be remembering to do all the YouTubey things. So if you're enjoying this video, you should hit the like, and if you're not a subscriber, you should subscribe. Um, I think that's Oh, and don't forget to hit the notification. I'm trying to remember the voice I use when I do recordings. You have to, if I do this like the newscasters, almost like the newscaster voice. Like
Yeah,
it's
I
a lot
know that.
easier.
I'm bad about that. I still hate saying it in my videos. I hate saying, "Oh, subscribe to me." That's not. I'm just,
It's easier when I do that voice. If I try to say it sort of like we're conversing right now, I can't get it out. But if I slip into that, wait, let me get a little bit of coffee and acting. Yeah. If you like the video, don't forget to hit the like. Which seems really redundant to say it that way, but if I do it that way in that voice, it works. Or if you enjoyed this video, you should hit the like. And don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. And hit the notification bell if you'd like to be alerted anytime new material is available. In the meantime, I'm Allison Troy, Retro Toy Princess, and I'll see you in the next one. So yeah, I just
yep, you're
I was
better,
like,
better than me.
yeah, right. I was just like, because I was trying to do it in sort of a conversational, like we're talking right now, and I couldn't get through it. It sounded so stupid. So I'm like, I'm just gonna do the silliest, most over the top Alexa newscaster voice ever, and I just set everyone's Alexa off who's watching. Sorry, sorry, you have a computer lady in your house that like listens all the time. Anyway, I'm not paranoid. You're paranoid, but yeah. So yeah, it's kind of weird to do some of that stuff, but also ironically, like on a few of my videos where I, like have sort of made sure the volume is up for that part of the video, I've gotten comments like, "Oh my god, this was so good," and I liked and subscribed. I'm like, okay, it worked. It was worth feeling awkward for this 5 seconds because somebody liked and subscribed. And so I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just bad about it. A lot of things. I talk to Carol a lot. Our sister. She knows
Yeah.
a lot about me. How nervous I am doing videos. How much I hate it, and
I think
I think the
nervousness is
video's crap, and then it does good, and then I feel like I did a lot of work on another video, and it doesn't do crap. She hears all
right.
about it. She hears all about it.
Well, it's funny because there have been a few videos where I was just like, ugh, I need to just get this off of my phone. It needs to go away. Like this is gonna blow. This is gonna blow. And then so I drop it, forget about it. Like I do all the little, like I do the Instagram stuff. I do the bare minimum, and I'll go back and look, and it's like at 600 views, and I'm just like, what? And then the stuff I'm really like invested in, I'm really sure is gonna go big. 87 views.
Yep, you never know. I
Like,
swear.
and it's like sometimes I'll go and look and it's just like YouTube for whatever reason isn't pushing it. There was one that I was convinced was going to do really well, and I went and looked, and it like people were just swiping away, and I'm like, why? And then
Well,
there's Rainbow Bright. So anyway, not
well,
bitter.
like this one I just did a little short. I just did a real stupid little short on those turtles of Grayskull,
Yeah.
and I sat there and complained to Carol. This short is doing shit. So I've gotten like 27 views in
Yeah.
4 or 5 hours, whatever it was. I was like, this is the worst the one's ever done. It tells you how many under you are than usual. I was like, this is doing crap. And it woke up the next morning to 1.8 thousand on it, which I think is like
Yeah.
my highest short. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to complain about anything anymore. Just put stuff up there.
Yeah. Especially with shorts. Well, what's funny about shorts is like I can't figure out there are times where it will just sit there and YouTube will never push it. And there are times where it'll sit for hours and like I'll hit eight,
One
9 hours,
one
and
of
I'm
mine
like,
took like 3 months, and it popped. I got like 1,000 views on it out of nowhere. 3 months later.
well, it was like again, like that faker video. Like it sat there for 3 weeks, and then just whatever reason,
Yeah,
suddenly
it's
people were all
weird.
about. But again, I do hand a lot of that off to Daft Punk and that great song. So um, I will be using that song again at some point. And I just like I didn't know what else to use. I'm like, well, he's a robot. They used a robot in that video. Like, okay, that works. It's a great song. And yeah, so but and don't use RuPaul's Supermodel. People get mad. This is a terrible. It's such a fun song, people. The '90s, we had fun with music. It wasn't all Sia being emo and
Yeah, I grew up all '90s music. It's just so funny listening to like oldie stations now. Just everything that pops up on me. Oh man!
right before I left the South, when I was living in Austin, Texas, I was leaving my job. It was late because I had taken on. It was after I basically messed up my life pretty bad in Austin. Personal life, like like I created quite the mess, and one of those messes where you have to move like within 24 hours because like you've pissed everyone you live with off, or like it was like one of those. So I was taking all these extra hours at work, and it was almost midnight. I like midnight 1 a.m. I'm like, I'm gonna go to the Water Burger and get like some food because I hadn't eaten all day. It had been all coffee, and that was back when you could still get ephedra. So it was like coffee and ephedra, and like I maybe had like a Hostess Snowball. That was a great diet. Mess up your life and starve yourself. Best diet ever. So I'm like, let me go to Whataburger. And while I was driving there, wondering what the hell I had done with my life and why I was such a screw up, I was flipping through the stations and I'm like, oh, it's the oldie station. And they're like, no, we have this hit from 1986, the Bangles, Hazy Shade of Winter. And I stopped. I stopped where I was. I pulled over into a parking lot and sat there and cried. I'm old. With
Yeah.
hysterical, like 20 some. Actually, was 1990. It was 2000. So like 23, 24 years later. Yeah. So. But yeah, that was the first.
It's
Oh, sorry.
strange hearing music and realizing how long it's been and
Yeah.
how much it means to us, but don't feel like a younger generation will enjoy it the same way we did.
Yeah, I don't know. It's funny because like, but at the same time, a lot of new music very much cribs from old music. Like a few years ago, I was like all excited, like, oh my god, like this song's by Katy Perry, and I was listening to him like it just sounds like old '80s song. It's just a little bit more advanced, like that Hot and Cold song she did that I really like. I'm like, this is such an '80s song. So
I listen to a lot of female artists. And my kids, I'm sure, laughing about them always. That's my thing in the car is just sing music as loud as I can right in their ear.
Oh my god, I
Right.
love getting in the car.
And a lot of it is I'll just down to like Lady Gaga or Avril Lavigne. I'm just and I'll just sing as loud as I can in there. Right
Next time I go to your part of the country, your part of the world to tour serial killer sites, I will like call you and we'll drive around to go from kill site to kill site, and we will crank up some like Mariah and some Whitney and some vintage stuff.
I'm 5 minutes from the Wineville murders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you mentioned that at one point.
The chicken coop killer.
Yeah, you're close also to some of the alleged Zodiac killer sites, which is one of my. Every time I go to the Bay Area, I have to go to at least one Zodiac site. Allegedly, Sherry Jo Bates may not have been murdered by Zodiac, but she could have been. So I just finished Skeletor and He-Man, so there we go.
Damn, yeah, you whipped through those.
Looking pretty good. Well, it doesn't have a background, and I was at first I thought, well, I'll add it, but then I'm like, no, let's just do the guys. I'm happy with it. Come on, autofocus. You used to never happen, and suddenly stream. I think the last update they did on iPhone screwed up my autofocus.
Yeah.
When I'm on StreamYard, it autofocuses. Never have an issue with it any other time in my life. So
I'm gonna finish up this line here, and I'll show you
right,
how I ended up.
yeah, it's true. I agreed, but at the same time, we have to sort of agonize about the numbers sometimes. Right.
I'm kind of
See a
getting there.
point. Yeah. Oh, nice. Let me put you front and center.
I'm
There
trying
we
to find
go.
a good color for He-Man's hair, and feel like I'm gonna have to go with Origins yellow because I don't have a good
Yeah.
hair color for him. It's
Do you
gonna
have
be
a do you have a cream color
not
in there?
really. Here's me over here testing out every color I could.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it looks like
So I'm not across anything that I like.
let's see. And you've got it's the Crayola. Let me take a
It's
look.
a 36
Do you have the
pack.
color chart on the back of it?
No, it does not. Mine's
It
very
did not,
generic.
of
If it
course.
was, it
All
would
right,
look
let's
off.
see. So I've got the Crayola 50 set. So it's got in mine it's saying it's got tan and sand listed. So if you have sand and you put that down really lightly as your first layer for the hair, you could then go in and layer it with some of the yellows. And I would very lightly just put a few streaks of like a light brown or a it says mahogany, but it's like a reddish brown. Just some real light. See if it'll. I'm gonna really quick put myself. There we go. So I don't know how well there we go. So like yeah, there's just some streaks in there of like brown, and then I just went over that with like a yellow gold color. So it's about creating that illusion. So
I see a couple of these and try my layering skills.
it takes a while to get back with it, and the Crayolas don't layer quite as well. It's part of why I sort of stubbornly stick to these Prismacolors is because I do really well with layering with them. So yeah.
I don't think I have a cream at all. I do have a tan.
So I am definitely not going to finish it on stream because we're at the 1.5 hour point. I usually go about 2 hours ish. But I'm going to just start working on the Skeletor you picked as well. Don't take that as like you should rush. I like to have something. It's easier for me to chat and talk and what have you if I've got something to color.
I was going to tell you earlier when you were talking about Jungians and Star Wars. My Star Wars history is kind of weird. I grew up playing with Star Wars figures so much. My friend's little brother, well, they're a lot older brother, collected Star Wars figures, and he had all the original ones and all in package. They were real big toy collectors back then, and gave all his doubles and everything to his little nephew. So I learned about Star Wars through all the figures, playing with them. And the Boba Fett was my favorite. I love Boba Fett and his ship, and played with them all the time with him. Knew kind of history, but I never watched Star Wars until I was probably 17 or 18 years old.
Oh, wow.
And the first Star Wars I saw was The Phantom Menace. Which is straight for my age, I know is very strange that I had never seen Star Wars till I was older on in life. And I watched Phantom Menace. I had Phantom Menace on VHS. I don't think Clone Wars was even out yet.
No, Clone Wars came out much later.
Yeah, so I watched Phantom Menace, and I went and bought the original trilogy on VHS and watched them all. And that's how I got into it. I was into them with the toys, but how I first started watching them. And it's just so backwards, I think, for somebody my age to.
I think. I think what is lost a lot, because we didn't because I saw Star Wars in a theater, the original 1977, before it was called A New Hope, before they even had that in the opening crawl, before there was any episode in the that didn't all get added into like I want to say 1978. The reissue they did, I think, was when they first had A New Hope in there, and it wasn't until like 1979 and 1980 when they re-released it that it had the episode in it, and that was because Empire Strikes Back had that in the opening crawl. I did see the original Star Wars 7 times. I've seen every Star Wars movie, including the Rise of Skywalker and the Clone Wars cartoon one 7 times. That's sort of my OCD with Star Wars. I have to see all of them 7 times at the theater. But it's also, before VHS, like you went and saw the movie, and you couldn't actually buy it and have it at your house. So it's like the Marvel comics. There was I had all the Marvel comics. I had the story of Star Wars, which was a picture record album. I also had it on cassette, which didn't have pictures on it because you can't put pictures on tape. And there was a Star Wars storybook, and you will often hear people talk about Star Wars. This is actually a video I'm working on for some point this year, called Star Wars and the Fake Mandela Effect. Because a lot of people will swear that the scene with the Biggs that got cut, that they remember seeing it, but it's actually because it's in the comic book and it's in the Star Wars storybook.
Okay.
So we had pictures of it as a kid, and it was like our main thing because you just couldn't turn on the TV and then stream it or whatever, or pop it into the VCR for a while. Those storybooks and those comic books were really what our memory of it was. And then the games we play with the action figures. So everyone who was like, oh no, I actually saw the big scene, must be Mandela. No, it's that we've misapplied those memories, which will be a fun video. Because I have to figure, I'm going to do a review of the various Biggs action figures as part of that. So, which is why it's still in progress, because I don't have all of the Biggs action figures in hand. Most of them are in storage. So, to go get them
I
at
think
some
it was
point.
around that time, 17, when I had first started working, and that's when I bought those VHSs. And man, I used to for what was Suncoast in the mall that had the VHS,
Yep,
or
I
not
bought a lot.
Suncoast, different Sun something, and
There
I
was
would just buy
Sunco.
VHS all the time.
Yep, I worked at Blockbuster, so I bought a lot of my
Ooh.
videos there. I got the first Star
Yeah,
Wars
I bought a lot from there too. Yeah,
in the box set that they came out with like in 95, 95, 96-ish. I bought that with my Blockbuster discount. Then they did. Then there was a special edition box set. I bought that on VHS. I
I'm a
have.
huge Lord of the Rings fan, and that's how I watched the first Lord of the Rings on VHS before the other two movies were out. And oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I watched that immediately, rewound it, and watched it again. I was so in love with it. I remember it coming out in theaters, and I guess I was probably 16, 17 at the time. And
Yeah.
I just remember seeing like Lord of the Rings. I was like, oh, was this like another Harry Potter?
Right.
I had no urge to get into Harry Potter at all. And
Um,
after watching Lord of the Rings, I was just so enthralled with it. And I said, rewound it and watched the whole thing all over again and cannot wait for the other movies to come out. And I've seen those so many times in theater over and over again.
I saw and like when I first moved to the Pacific Northwest. Well, it had been, the Lord of the Rings had been out for a while, but it played in theaters for a really long time. So I saw it was the first movie I watched when I got here. And the person I moved up here with, like that first week, was like, "Oh, you haven't seen it yet? We should go see it." Um, and then of course the second one came out, and they did that. And then the third one came out, and I remember when the third one came out, they did that thing where you could go to the theater and watch the expanded version of the first two movies.
Oh, yeah.
So we were in
A
that
weekend
theater.
out of it.
I was still, I did not at that point have a healthy relationship with alcohol. So I may have snuck a flask into the theater to make it through that like 37 hours of Middle Earth.
The
I've
whole
never watched a Harry Potter movie all the way through. Every time I've gone to a theater to try to watch one, I fall asleep. So
See, my
that's not
son
quite.
is a big Harry Potter fan, and I watch him and I enjoy him now. Like I said, me at the time, there's no way I wanted to watch Harry Potter. I was like, oh, what is this little kid movie? And that's
I
why I didn't
mean,
watch Lord of the Rings because I thought Lord of the Rings was something similar, I guess, in my head. And
yeah. I mean, like I'm happy for people who love not Lord, the Harry Potter stuff. It's just I don't know. It just doesn't land for me.
yeah, I'm not as big on it, but it's in,
I mean, if I need to go to
watch
sleep,
it.
I'll put it in, and then I'm out in five.
There you go.
Like it's funny. Like when I had my insomnia, I had terrible insomnia for a couple of years there, and a friend brought over a bunch of movies for me to watch that she was selling, and she's basically trying to get me to buy them. And she's like, everyone loves Harry Potter, and I'm like, I don't. But I had insomnia, and I was like, I'm not gonna rewatch Friday the 13th, and like all of my go-tos whenever I have insomnia are all my all the old horror movies of the 80s that I love. Um, and I'm like, let me just put in Harry Potter. I hadn't slept for 3 days at this point. I was 20 minutes into Harry Potter, and I was dead to the world. I fell asleep.
Found your NyQuil.
Yeah, it ended, and as soon as it ended, I woke right up, and then I put it back in and fell right back asleep. So I will
Yeah, I
give
still
the
have trouble sleeping at night, and I'm always. I mean, I'm on YouTube all the time now, so I'm finding my things that I've watched that'll put me to sleep.
yeah.
Usually,
I
I'll,
also watch. I'll put on Enya. Also, that will often put me to sleep.
what is it?
Enya, the musician,
Oh, yeah.
like her
I'm
stuff
familiar
is
with
like,
it.
yeah. Let's see. You should check with the chat. Oh, yeah, that's awful. Let's see. Well, see, that's sweet. Like the Carl I moved up here with was big into Harry Potter, and I went with him, but I also like pointed out to him I was going to sleep through the whole thing and how horrible it was he wanted to go see those movies. So he was like, "But I really love these books." I'm like, "So you're reading books for a 12-year-old and you're like almost 30? Okay." I was not the kind, gentle soul that I am today back then. So,
Yeah, I think Harry Potter books. I'm not sure when when the books came out when they started kind of hitting
first
schools.
one
Because
was
they read
like,
them in schools. I know.
yeah, the first one I think was like 97, 98 ish.
Okay, I
Because it
was.
came out when I was in Austin. Because I remember making fun of a housemate who was like, "I've read this Harry Potter book all the way through," and I'm like, "Congratulations, you're 26 and you're reading books made for a 12-year-old. Here you go. Like, come back to me when you read an adult book." And somebody was like, "Well, that's very judgmental. At least she's reading." I'm like, "Yep, you're right there. At least she is reading. I didn't even know she could read." So, um, again, I was much less nice then. I was far more bitter in my early
Yeah, I've
years.
been there. I know. I have changed my ways a lot. I was not
But
always the best person. Get in a lot of trouble.
I never got into like say legal trouble. My mouth got me into a lot of trouble though.
Yeah, I was in any kind of trouble you could think of, probably.
All right. Yeah, no. Yeah, I don't know. It was a different time. But I also I don't know. I feel fortunate because I'm not somebody who yeah, like there's a lot of really questionable stuff that I did and a lot of horrible stuff I did, but I don't necessarily regret that phase of my life. Like I wish I had handled some of it better. I wish some things hadn't happened, but I don't regret it because I feel like a lot of who I've become and sort of the way I move through the world now, which I prefer, obviously, but I don't know that I could have gotten to this point in my life without having to go through that phase where I was just horrible and unhappy and taking it out on the world. And so, um, But that could also just be like the ignorance of being old. You're like, it's the experience. It's okay that I was a terrible, terrible person for a while there. Because I'm better now and it helped me grow. I'm much richer.
Yeah, I don't regret anything either. I mean, I did do bad things, but I always did it with a good heart. I don't know if that makes sense all day.
It makes
I've
sense.
always been really big hearted and caring about people and always one for the underdog, or if somebody else is not being treated right, I don't stand for that.
Yeah.
And I'd rather get myself in trouble than somebody else put up with something.
Oh, that makes sense.
Which has gotten me in trouble more than once.
Right. Yeah, no, that I definitely understand how that would work. Yeah. I mean, I did get in trouble one time for fighting because somebody said something they shouldn't have to a friend, and I don't know if throwing an entire can of house paint at somebody's head and hitting them with it actually counts as fighting, but that's what, yeah. So, in this day and age, that would probably be considered assault, but back then, it was fighting. Asshole shouldn't have said what he said. And to be fair, it was a very lovely shade of green, so
There you go. Now,
I was just trying to brighten his day. I think that's what I even said to the cop when he showed up. I may have had too much champagne at that point. That was the time of my life where I would start the day with mimosas and end the day just carrying a bottle of champagne around with me, because it seemed less trashy if it was champagne. Yeah, I do think I said I was just trying to like bring more color to his day or something. Like I do think the cop laughed if I'm remembering correctly, but I didn't get arrested or anything, so I don't have an actual record. But I mean, that person and I had issues anyway. I had interrupted his wedding at the point where because the priest always says like, "Is there anyone here who objects?" And I was like, "I object," and that is a rhetorical question, apparently. They don't actually expect anyone to answer it based on the response.
No, that usually only happens in movies.
Somebody that day, it happened in real life. I object.
That's funny.
Yeah. I'm not a gangster. I'm just a bitch. No, I'm kidding. I just sometimes have a hard time like holding my tongue when somebody does something shitty to me or my friends. So
yeah,
and sometimes I just silently observe and then know that one day the opportunity to get that person back will arise, and then I get them. So there are a couple of people who there's and they're gonna be 90 and I'm gonna be 90 and I'm gonna show up in the hospital room right before they wink out. Right before the little white light goes by to let them know that their heart is no longer beating, just so that I can get the last word in. And so, because there are some people who need to be reminded right before they shuffle away that they garbage. Moby. Oh, which is a good reminder. Yeah, put the ticker back up for a little bit, so people can remember. Never forget.
I might go through Skeletor kind of quick and just trying to get some purple on him so I can get a little farther ahead.
Yeah, I'm realizing now as I work on this Snake Mountain background for Skeletor that I'm doing it pretty much in the same purples I usually use for his armor, so I'm about to run into some problems there. But I think I'll bring in like a pinker for right behind him. Or I could just use a much darker purple. So something closer to what the action figure is. Okay. This one has background, so there's no, I won't even be anywhere near finishing this one today. I mean, I'll do it off stream once we wrap up, and
Yeah,
I'll
I'm
look
also
at it.
about to probably touch some of this up too. This purple I'm working with too is the one that I said I try and sharpen it, and then the whole thing of lead just wants to fall out.
Crumbles. I had an orange doing that earlier that broke, but it's also at the very, very like this orange. It's probably last week of existence. I should really just let it go, but um, as
I
much as
really
I
should
go,
check my pencil sharpener too. I got a pencil sharpener for my son,
if
and it's
yeah,
not.
well, it also can depend. Sometimes the softer lead. It also depends on how you hold the pencil sharpener.
Yeah,
Um,
I was playing with it for about a good 5-10 minutes before you popped on the
yeah, and
pre-show with
it
me.
takes a while, but like you should like this should just be holding it, and you should actually be all of your turning should be this. So if you're turning the pencil sharpener, that can help break a lead
Yeah,
that's
I was
soft
showing his
already.
little
And
one with the
so,
catcher on it. It just doesn't
but
seem like the pencil fits. So
also, like the
I feel
blades
like
do
this is a
get,
make the pencil one.
yeah, and the blades will get dull. And I mean, like I've had this one a couple months. This one needs to get replaced. My electric pencil sharpener is on its last legs because it's to the point where the blades are starting to get dull, and there's not really a way to resharpen them. So since I started making videos for YouTube, I'm on my third electric pencil sharpener.
Yeah, I used to have I had a lot of stuff for art, paint, and my
Yeah.
pencil sharpener, and I used to do a lot more of it when I was younger. So it's been a long time since I even colored anything. I'm just
Should start picking up things for yourself just to tinker and play
yeah,
around. It's good for you.
yeah, I'm enjoying it too. Yeah, I knew I would once I got into it.
Yeah. And like my whole, sort of my whole goal for these live streams, A, is to get to color more of these pictures that I have. And not just do shorts with them, but also to hang out with people and to get people like sort of playing around with art again. And sort of just, I don't know, it's weird. I personally have all of this baggage from college art classes where it was very like art can only be this, and this is the only kind of art that matters. And what I've sort of figured out with sort of this adult coloring thing is like this is, like I do way more of this than I ever did when I was making quote unquote art. Um, and like I've started drawing like one of those Princess Leia things I did. I actually drew that. It was the first time in a while I've drawn anything. Um,
Yeah, I
and it
used
was
to draw
it
all
was nice to draw again, but like it took a while.
Well, I thought that was funny. Speaking of adult coloring, those pictures I sent you, that adult coloring book my niece had, that just cracked me up
So
when I saw that.
yeah,
It's all serial killers.
yeah. There's I don't want to say good ones because that's sort of not. There are some really interesting adult coloring books out there. Like I've got
I didn't really know that was such a thing like that.
yeah no
It
there's
cracked me up seeing that. I was like, oh, I gotta send these to Allison. I
yeah
was like,
no I saw
let me find somebody that I know that. You probably
that.
know more serial killers than I do, but I was like, let me find somebody that I know.
Oh,
Yeah,
probably.
who did I send you? Lizzie Borland, I think.
Yeah, it was Lizzie Borden. Like,
Yeah,
but
Borden. Yeah.
technically, Lizzie is not a serial killer. Because if, and like it's still debatable whether or not she actually did it. But if so, it was just her dad and her bitch stepmother. So
I told you my niece was in prison with some of them.
you
Um,
mentioned that, yeah,
yeah,
the Manson
my
people.
my family we've all been in trouble, even my nieces. And
I used to have a housemate who's currently on death row for murder. So like, no judgment here. He was a nice guy until he wasn't. So, but Yeah, it's fun. You know, the Manson family isn't interesting. Some of the Manson family people who are in prison, um, I feel bad for it because a few of them I think have sort of turned their stuff around and have improved their lives, and probably would be a good candidate for parole. And if it were a different crime, I think just with that one, because of the nature of it, I don't know that there's, no matter how rehabilitated you are, I think it's really hard to not have a visceral, like they just always need to be in jail, which, I think my personal feeling is the current incarceration system is not set up in a way where anyone's going to come out of that a better person. I just don't think there's a focus on actual rehabilitation. But that's a different rant for a different time. Anyway, serial killers are cool. No, just kidding. Serial killer. Now I'm,
Another
like
big fascination everybody has, and a lot of people watching the true crime documentaries and stuff. I get stuck on those things, man. I put
yeah,
on.
I once saw Silence of the Lambs and in high school because I was doing a term paper on, I think that year, I think that was the Manson family year, that I did my term paper on the Manson family because the Mansons scared me. Like in the 80s, like it was when they started being on television more, and the story of it scared me. I found Sharon Tate was very tragic to me, but I also was very much, it's like I wanted to be, there was a point where I wanted to be Phoebe Cates, Molly Ringwald, and Sharon Tate as a kid, without the murder part, without being murdered, right? So I sort of went through those phases where those and Cyndi Lauper, those were like sort of these idols I had. Which the Sharon Tate thing is, I guess, weird, but whatever. But it was just the tragedy. When you're a teenager, sort of that sort of tragedy has some sort of. But because of that, the Manson family also sort of terrified me because obviously they did this horrible thing and murdered her. But so yeah, we went and saw Silence, and after that, I was like, kind of like, well, I want to do what Clarice Starling is doing. I want to hunt down serial killers, and for a while, I did some criminal justice classes, and thought about maybe being a profiler or something like that, but probably for the best I didn't. But also at the same time, like, although I do watch a lot of true crime and do consume a lot of it, I have, as I get older and understand, I think anyway, I could be completely off base here, but I feel like as I start understanding the world more, I have I have a lot of questions around the morality of how some true crime is made and marketed. And that sort of started during the pandemic when there was this weird spate of, oh my God, Ted Bundy is so hot. And I was just like, what? Yeah, okay. It happened again with that Dahmer show that they did where there are all these weird people sort of into Jeffrey Dahmer and thinking how hot he was. And I'm just like, ugh. So anyway. Yeah. The Mansons are, again, it's a very U.S. situation as well. Like, I don't think quite the nature of that crime could have happened anywhere but the United States. So, and it's very 60s, very California. I very much am one of those people who, like, as a kid, because, California is one of those places I've always just sort of been fascinated by. So,
Oh yeah, Carol shares the birthday with Charles Manson. That's right.
oh, so much makes sense, Carol.
Right.
Just kidding. Just kidding. Hello, Adam. Good to see you.
What's up, Adam? And I've been on his color and I haven't really looked at the chat or anything. And
exactly. Well,
I really got
so
sucked into this.
yeah, no. So for a real quick digression here, it sends them back into society worse so that they can reoffend and go back into the system and make goods cheaply for corporations. Anyway. No, there you go. All right. Oh, wait, there was exactly. So yeah. So anyway, so at least our digression hasn't completely um, chased all the people away. That's actually why I like doing this though, because we do end up talking about way more than toy stuff, and people get to be entertained.
I got one more little piece left.
Excellent. Let me know when you are ready to show it off, and I'll put you center stage again.
I don't know what to color it. I'll just go a little darker with this, maybe. I think that'll look good. So now that I've gotten into doing this, I wish I had more colors. I thought I'd just kind of keep it simple since I wasn't sure what I was doing, but now I'm like, I wish I had more colors and could play around a
Yeah,
little more.
that's how it starts. Wait, wait. This is YouTube. Let me do the. It's not there right now, but if you look later, there will be a list of links in the description to the various things that I use during the course of this video. And I am an Amazon affiliate, so anything you buy through those helps the channel grow. All right, that's over. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, I wasn't going to even go back because I know you have that and look, because I was thinking about, well, if I couldn't print these out, I had my niece print them out for me.
Yeah.
If for some reason she couldn't get them or anything, I was going to order like a coloring book from Amazon. I was like, if I'm going to do all that, then I'll order some
Oh yeah.
my own pencils and stuff as well.
Well, and definitely with Revolutions coming out, Alex and I are doing a buddy color in that Revelations coloring book.
Yes, and I know. Johnny has that coloring book too, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't want to get the same coloring book as everybody else is doing too, though. So
Kayla and Johnny are going to be on with me Sunday the 21st, and we're going to color a page from that book. So definitely, if you were looking at it, you should grab it. We could. I mean, definitely, I'm going to invite people back to this. Right now I'm trying to get to everyone. Like I think is cool to hang out at least once or twice, but I'm going to have people back. So definitely, you're on my people to invite back list. So if you do pick it up, we could even do a page from that. But as you know, I sent you an entire book that these are from. There are a lot of cool pictures in there we could also do. So sort of guest choice. I say 3 pictures when I send a book over for people. Our books. I think I sent you 2 books if I remember.
Yes, yeah. And there were so many in there, man. I didn't know what to pick.
Well, I try to give especially with say Motu, I want to make sure that because I have so many Motu books, but I want to try to make sure that I have enough options so that you can find something you like. And then I ask for 3 because that way I can, sort of if I'm wanting to do anything like extra cool that week, or if I want to try out something that will look super awesome on camera or some sort of effect, that way I sort of can plan for that. Yeah, because some things I need, like the watercolor stuff, are the
those watercolors I thought were so cool the first time seeing those.
Yeah, those are Neocolor pencils.
Is that what you're talking about, where you do the penciling and then go over it with the water?
Yeah, those are water soluble crowns. I was almost gonna do those today, but
I hit rewind so many times on one of the shorts because I was like, "What is she doing?" I was like, "I swear that's like some kind of watercolor."
Yeah, they're like crowns that are water soluble. So I just go in and sort of color really heavy, and then go in and slosh. It works really good for like space in the sky. I can get sort of a cosmic effect with them, which is how I found them. There's a channel and over on ColorTube, Color with Claire, and she did like a cosmic space scene, and that's what she used those to get it. And I was like, oh wow, that so much easier than sort of trying to create that with the pencils, and like it had a nice look to it. So I'm like, let me pick those up, and then I end up using them for so much more. So, but yeah, I was gonna break those out because you had mentioned a couple times, and I was just like, I kind of wanted to do the battle armor one first because like it's a little bit of a simpler composition, and I do so much that's extra that I was like, it's kind of fun sometimes just to do a simple, like where I don't feel the need to add to the background. I just get to sort of do some skin and some hair. But I'll have you back, and I'll do those. We'll plan for it, and I will. We'll figure out a way to get you a set of those crayons, like what I used to do those backgrounds, and we'll do it as a tutorial.
Oh yeah, I just need
I'll
to
show you how to do those so that
go
you
online
can.
and pick some up.
Yeah, we'll figure that. We'll figure that out, and we'll plan for that. Probably April. My birthday is in April, and I wanted to do just a bunch of fun streams where fun stuff happens, and that would be fun to sort of.
So I've gotten
How do you do that?
well, I'm pretty much complete. Skeletor,
Okay.
I just did a lot of light purple. Go back in later and maybe
Let me put you in the center so everyone can see.
darken him up. He looks real light, but
Excellent. That looks pretty good, though.
yeah,
Very impressive.
probably
So,
whip it together real quick.
yeah. No, that's good.
He could all be a little darker, I think, so I just kind of shaded him into so I could finish today. Finish something.
Yeah, exactly. Like that is sort of and that is the thing. I try to pick something that whoever's on here with me can usually finish.
Yeah, I'll still probably might do that one later. The one you're working on, I have that one still.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick up this for the rest. I've got some stuff to edit, so I'm gonna keep picking at this. I'll definitely be putting this one up on Instagram today. When you're finished with that, that's sort of my only request. When you're done, take a picture of it, stick it on Instagram, tag me.
Oh, yeah,
that way we can maximize people seeing that we do fun, cool stuff on these streams.
Oh yeah, I will be for sure.
So yeah, and I will definitely have you back. We're a little over 2 hours, so I should wrap it up.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to at least get something.
Yeah, no.
Well, finish for you.
Yeah, no. And well, you got pretty far, and that's really good.
Now I feel you does need a background.
Oh, Carol is also coloring. Excellent. Alex, that 100% makes sense, and right? I can see it. Yeah.
Little both of them.
But I will say, in Lindsay Lohan's defense, a few years ago there was that clip of her dancing, in Greece or whatever, and people made fun of it. But I'm going to say that everyone over the age of 45, that's how we all dance anyway. We just don't think it looks like that. So.
I don't know why my head went to the movie Grease. He's Lindsay Lohan dancing in Grease, and I was like, wait, what?
That's a great movie. I love Grease.
Yeah. I grew up watching that millions of times.
My favorite uncle who took me to movies loved Grease, and we went to that a lot of times. And then he moved to New York to be an actor, and he came home one year, and he brought me a bunch of records that he couldn't keep because New York was expensive even back then. And he was like, "These are yours," and among them was the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And I look back now, and I'm like, 8 years old is probably a little too early for Rocky Horror Picture Show, but at the same time, I don't think it was.
Oh, I watched all kinds of.
Yeah,
I was always home alone watching whatever I wanted with the legal cable box.
Yeah, I watched. I look at some of the '80s stuff I watched.
Movies I was watching. I've been watching my age.
Yeah, that was the lovely thing about Gen X in the '80s. We watched a lot of stuff we probably shouldn't have. So. All right. Well, it is a little over 2 hours, and thank you very much for hanging out today, Cob.
Thank you. This was like I knew it would be so enjoyable.
It's fun for me to hang out with somebody that I at least know I'll be able to chat. So far, I've been lucky. I haven't invited anyone that I don't want to talk to and hang out with. So far, I have not done a single this person would be great for me. I have that list of people, and then I never ask them. Because I'm too intimidated, but it's just it needs to be fun. So
even for me, just doing one-on, I've done maybe a couple one-on-one interviews and stuff, and that is nerve-wracking for me. This is so just chill and be able to relax and just talk
Yeah.
and color. I really did enjoy it so much.
Oh, my cough drop didn't
Ran
help
out.
as much as I thought it would. Yeah, no, it was. I don't know. This is fun. I like.
I think this is art right here too. All my test scribbles. I made my own artwork.
Where's mine at? Well, just so you can know. So yeah, I've got one too. This one also has from when I did one of the shorts with Leia, Hut Slayer Leia, and Jabba the Hutt. It's got all of my colors for that, so that when I have another Hut Slayer page, I'm gonna do. So I can just grab this, but it has all of my color test on it. I throw at least 2 or 3 of those out a week. So, all right, let me. Thank you. Yeah, there. Yeah, see, most people didn't, but I was 8. So, damn it, Janet. Rhea, thank you for hanging out today. Muchly appreciated. Rick, thank you. I'll see you later today. That was part of my plot, was to get to hang out with Cobb some more. Thank you. Thanos, thank you. And rest assured, you will be on here shortly, soonish. He's on my list as well. Carol, well, Alex is not ready to be on camera, but Alex may show, hopefully, fingers crossed, will show up on one of these streams one time as hands.
I'll stay on it.
Alex and I will just do a whole episode where there are no faces, just hands. So it's coming, Alex. Get ready for it. All right. So we're gonna wrap up. Some meandering wrap up, whatever. So Cobb, where can the people find you?
I'll just get on YouTube. Same name as on the screen, just Cob Web Collector. Plenty of Motu videos and stuff like we were talking about. Want to check any of those out at all? And same on Instagram, Cob Web Collector, all spaced out, underscore in between. But I think pretty much everyone here knows me already.
I think so. I get
all friends here.
I get rewatches though during the week on these from people who don't know who we are. So
I know I always forget about that too.
For those people who make it to the end of this, go follow Cobb. He does great work, especially if you're here watching Masters of the Universe coloring stuff. So,
yep, right up my alley.
Exactly, Alex. Exactly. All right. For me, obviously, you're watching this on my channel. Tomorrow, I have a 16 to 18-ish minutes, depending on how YouTube compressed it. Tila cardback video. So please join me for that. I'll be doing a live premiere. I got some more Star Wars toy booklet vintage things coming up in the weeks. And then soonish, there will be a Castle Grayskull video. So that'll be fun. I'm doing some Motu stuff this month, so more announcements to come. And as always, daily shorts, at least through March. So until next time, I'm Allison Troy, Retro Toy Princess, and I'm out. Thanks.
Bye, everybody.